Good morning. I'm here with Molly and Brian Swindell. This is actually our third time to speak with them, and we're going to talk with them about how God has worked in their lives through this year and His deployment to Iraq. So thank you, Molly and Brian, for being willing to share with us again this morning. Actually, Brian, I know you came home about 2 months ago, and so we have some footage we're going to show now, and I'd just like for you to tell us what it felt like getting off that airplane, walking into that airport, and what was going through your mind as you came into the crowd and that reception?
Try not to cry. Didn't really want to, I'm the man. I'm supposed to be tough, but a lot of emotions coming off of me. Eager to see my wife and a little numb, but overall just kind of like Christmas Day. I guess that's the best way to explain it, getting that toy that you really wanted. But way too, almost so excited I couldn't cry. That's kind of where what I was thinking and feeling. And then when we finally actually walked down the tarmac area there, the overwhelming amount of people that were waiting there cheering for us was, it kind of got to me a little bit. But I didn't show anybody. I didn't let anybody see it. But it got to me to know that many people really, cared that I was home.
So Molly, you were in the crowd, and what was going on in your mind and in your feelings?
Yes, we got escorted back to his gate, which we weren't expecting. And they were the very, very last people off the plane, which, sweaty palms. It was worse than the first date.
They made us wait till they could gather us all up, so we walked out together.
But very exciting.
Brian, Molly, over the last month, Pastor Rick has been doing a sermon series on worship, and one of those sermons was about sacrificial worship, how we worship God through sacrifice. So I'd like to talk about how that compares to sacrificing for our country in the way that you have in this year. So Brian, first, how would you say you witnessed and experienced sacrifice, personally and to other people around you during your deployment?
Well, our family's kind of numb to that kind of thing. We don't really think much about it when we have to do it, but and I feel that my family definitely gave more sacrifice than I did, as odd as that may sound. But there were some sacrifices. You look at family and finances and comfort, things that you don't think about much when you're here. Like my coffee this morning, sitting on the back porch, nobody trying to kill me. And now I sacrificed all of that to go out and play.
Now, Molly, you were home, but you were also, experiencing sacrifices. What would you say you witnessed or experienced, or what was the most sacrificial thing that you witnessed during Brian's absence?
Mainly the kids didn't get to see their dad every day. It was the hardest part.
Brian, I know that I often hear when veterans come back from their deployments that if they're asked, was it worth it? Would they do it again? They say, most definitely. So I'm just curious, is that your feeling? What would you say about that?
Absolutely. So many people out there like me, and I know would say the same thing. Somebody's got to do it. I'm the kind of person that says if you got a problem, or you don't have a problem unless you have a solution, and to be able to contribute to that situation and be a part of something that's so awesome and major is really important to me, and I know everybody that I was with feels the same way. So it's definitely without a doubt, if it's time to do the job, it's time to do the job, and I don't really think about the the sacrifice, so to speak, of it, because it needs to be done.
And Molly, I'm just going to assume you feel the same way, but what would you add to that? Is it worth it? Would you go through the same sacrifices again as a service personnel's wife?
It is, because it's something that Brian's always wanted to do and be a part of, and it's worth it to see him happy and doing something good for other people.
Brian, I want to make the connection between sacrificing for your country and, in essence, you could say serving your country as a form of worship. How do you connect that to sacrificially worshiping God? So did this deployment impact what that means to you, sacrificially worshiping God?
Well, I think it kind of falls back on that no problem, no solution, or no, excuse me, you don't have a problem if you don't have a solution, and God's the solution. You know, you can sacrifice everything you, without regard, without even thinking about it, if you got God at your back and taking care of you. You know, I had somebody ask me while I was over there that, you know, how do you, every day you wake up and we go out and do this stuff and you never get upset, and you're always doing this horrible, nasty, sandy, miserable place with a job and with a smile on your face, and I just said, well, I got a really good IT department with a direct line, so it's not that hard to really go out and do this, because I don't have anything to worry about. You know, I got somebody got my back, and I think it took off. You know, I saw a few people actually start going to church because of that. You know, once I explained to them why I was the way I was.
Brian, so coming back from your deployment, thinking of sacrificial worship and what you witnessed and how that's impacted you, would you say there are areas in American Christian culture where we could be more sacrificially worshiping our God in our personal lives?
Everywhere, everything. They didn't really have anything over there, and they were all happy, and I don't even know why, because they didn't even have God. So it was very hard to figure out why this guy that served me eggs every morning, who was a professor at a college that had been destroyed because they had stockpiled ammunitions in it. He spoke 9 languages, and he served me eggs every morning for breakfast in the DFAC, and no complaints, smile on his face, was very happy, and he didn't have anything in my mind to really be happy for. And then, you know, you see somebody here get upset because their keyboard doesn't work the way they want it to, or their login's not working, or their Facebook page is stuck, or we, as Americans, we should be very thankful because we are extremely blessed in every way, shape, or form. And even to the people that don't have the jobs, that are unemployed or laid off, or still, they had it worse, and I can't emphasize, I know it seems hard to understand or believe, but they really did have it worse. I mean, we have programs and things to fall back on too. They've got nothing.
Now, Brian, I want to follow up on that. You said something about people getting upset, and I'm just curious, what do you feel Christians should be getting upset about?
You should be upset that you now have the right over here to say what you need to say. In certain circumstances, I mean, you can't go to work necessarily and say that, but you know, out in public, you have the ability to worship to people, witness to people, tell them your story without repercussion, and that right there in itself is a gift that most people, I think, overlook.
Again, Brian and Molly, I want to thank you for sharing with us your story. We've sort of followed you all along since May, and we're glad to be able to hear how God has worked in your life and what it's done for you, how it's impacted you. And I just want to say on behalf of our congregation and really our whole country, thank you for serving and for showing us a good model of what it means to sacrifice.
That's what we're here for, no problem.